Good evening and welcome to not the first, I think it's the second, third or fourth live workshop. Custom liveries it is tonight. Hello everyone in chat, already a bunch of people waiting for me to get started, get creative and share all the secrets of custom liveries, my specialty, what I've been kind of famous for as it kickstarted this channel. So, let me just switch on some music in the background and to make this all smooth and easy and relaxing. So, Gabe is here. Lucas, I'm gonna show you how to not make ugly liveries anymore. Garo is here, Daniel is here. Hey, Photoshop is getting hot, yes. Even is here, awesome. Flint. Okay, customize a Lego Nissan. Maybe. So for anyone who has already tuned in, I'm gonna try to make this live workshop day a bit more condensed and a bit more structured and a bit easier to follow, especially in retrospective if you want to watch it again. So we are going to make this like some sort of live tutorial. So I will not be sitting here for 3 hours working on a livery and just blah blah blah. So I want to do like a real live tutorial with you. I'm gonna take you from step 1, the easiest way how I do it, setting up teams, setting up the structure, the templates, and then getting into like for example working with Photoshop but also working with Photopea. So I included a link in the descriptions to all the templates. I also prepared a folder and a link for the material JSON files, so you don't need to fiddle around, because there have been a lot of people who had issues getting their material JSONs, meaning if you want something to be glossy or metallic, you need to edit the stupid text files, and it can be annoying because they can be corrupted and then it doesn't work for you in game. So I already provided a link to all the different ones, so you just can save them and then you just have to rename them to decals or sponsors. So with that out of the way, I also included a link to Photopea down in the description. This is a completely free software. It's an online picture editing software that is really similar to Photoshop. And it's really easy to use and it's online, no need to install anything. So you can just click on it, load the template that you want to edit, like you open it in GIMP or Photoshop or whatever, and just, you know, get crazy with it. So there's no need to pay for anything. You can do it completely for free. Austin is here. What's up, brother? How are you doing, mate? James is also here. Nice. You came from race department. Awesome. Yes, exactly. Today's live workshop is done in collaboration with race departments. I kindly asked them if they kind of are interested in me sharing some of my, you know, workflow and secrets, and they gladly shared it on their website and in Discord. So anyone from race department joining in, welcome to the stream. If you enjoy the show, consider clicking to subscribe to not miss any of the upcoming tutorials and live streams that are going to happen. So yes, live workshop, live tutorial, I'm gonna take you through step by step, because I'm pretty sure we will have a lot of people today who are maybe trying it for their first time. So Peter is also here. Peter, yes, GIMP is also there. So somebody recommended me Photopea because it's a really cool software. It's kind of similar to Photoshop, and because I'm working with Photoshop and most of the stuff I share can then be easily used in Photopea. The PSD in the Lexus folder. Let's see if I can update it, because I think I got one actually. Good that you mentioned it, because maybe I can already fix that. So I'm gonna just quickly check that in the background. But the music is okay. If you want it louder or anything, just feel free to let me know. Okay, I still don't have it, but I know the Lexus PSD is out there, so I'm gonna definitely update that and share it again for every one of you. Hey Alex, how are you doing? Brian is also here, good to see you. Alex, it has been a while, yeah. So the Lexus is, for example, the only exception now, because in the beginning there have been challenges with the licenses and stuff from the racing team or Lexus and Kunos. So there wasn't really a livery, but we are gonna get that fixed. But anyway, let's just change. So So the way we are going to do it right now is I'm just show you where I'm always starting, and then we're gonna jump into the editing. So first thing first, the easiest one, Flint has the Lexus, awesome. I think I also have it somewhere, but Flint, if you want to send it through Discord, I can update the Google Drive, that would be awesome. Awesome, Peter has it as well. Seems like the livery guru is the only one who doesn't have it. So, okay. In terms of how to get started in Assetto Corsa Competizione with custom teams and custom liveries, there's actually the easiest way is you just hop into the game and edit or add the car that you want to make the livery for. So, for example, I can showcase this to you is the cool thing in Assetto Corsa Competizione is you can have a custom team with I don't want to say with as many cars as you want, but with a lot of different cars that you can then adapt with liveries. For example, here with the Aston Martin V12, I have 2 cars in a custom team. Or let's take a look, for example, with the Bentley, where I actually have 4 cars. So there is no need to always come up with a team and do everything from scratch. And the way this works is actually the only rule here is that the team name needs to be the same. So the way you do it is you want to start doing your own custom livery. So you choose the car and then you click on add and you select the car there. Let's just add another Bentley Continental. And the only thing we need to remember is the name here, the team name. That's the one we always need to keep in mind. So we just add the same car, the Bentley Continental GT3 2018, and type in the same team name, which in my case was BNTX. Whoops. And to just showcase this, let's give it another number here. And then you can do whatever you want. You just choose your nationality, which cup you want. You can have every car in a different cup, for example, to have a different color there. And then give it your design, whatever you want to go and go crazy, blah, 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 and just save it. And then voila, we have a 5th Bentley in the custom team. So the key to this is just keep the team name the same. And this is, let's say, your car you want to do a custom livery for. Hey Complex Design, how are you doing? Thanks for joining in, good to see you, hope you're doing well. So you just do that with the car you want to get started on the custom livery, whatever it is, Audi, GT4, whatever, it doesn't matter, Porsche Cup. And the process here is always the same, to have as many cars. I mean, I didn't try it, I would really be curious how far it goes, but I saw people with like 8, 9 or even 10 cars, and you can give a custom texture on everyone. And the reason why I always start in the game is then because the game now sets up the file for you. And when you have done that, I always just confirm and go back into the main menu, and then you open up your Explorer. And what you want to do there, that's a bit too much, I think. And once you're in the Explorer, you want to head into the file system where you have Assetto Corsa Competizione. So you go to your folder of Assetto Corsa Competizione, you go to Customs and you go to Cars. And then you sort it by date, so that the latest car you just set up is on top. And you see number 99, that must be the Bentley that we just set up. And to make it easier, feel free to rename that, it doesn't really bother. So you can just say that was my BNTX Bentley 99 for the livery workshop. And this way you have an easier time to recognize the car later on if you want to change something. And as you see, I just did it with some of the cars, at least with the ones I'm driving. And then we open that, and in Windows it's typically with just a standard basic notepad editor, whatever you want to call it. So this is the JSON files we are talking about and we know. Flint has 70 cars for the Porsche. Okay. It's working with English Windows as well. Yes, sorry, it's a German Windows. Visual Studio Code is also a good editor to use. So awesome, thank you, Peter. I'm gonna have to add a link for that as well. So what you see here is actually for anyone who has never seen that and is just getting with custom liveries. It's just basically the parameters you can edit in the game, now here in the file. So for example, you have the race number 99. You can, for example, change the race number here. You don't need to do it in the game. You can change the colors that you selected for the car and everything, but the most important thing that I actually always do is here the team name and the display name, which is basically the subtitle in the game. And then the most important thing here is the custom skin name. We need to type in a folder name where we want to put our custom livery textures. And you can call that whatever you want, and I always recommend never go with spaces in your file names, so always come up with something else, like let's take the team name and then just workshop. So I'm gonna call this like that, BNTX minus workshop. And then you just save it. And we get back to this later again. We just save that. Then we go into the game, and what we then do is again into single player and hop to the car from our team. And this is the one we selected, and interestingly enough, it seems like I already have a folder with BNTX Workshop. So let's go back again, because that's not intended. Let's take another name, because I want to show you what happens. So I'm gonna just quickly take another name like BNTX Workshop Bentley. So absolutely not intentional here, because I want you to see what happens in the process. And you can copy paste that as well. So just to make sure, but actually that's not needed. No. So we now name it BNTX Workshop Bentley. So it's a different folder now. And again, we go into the game, select the Bentley, our team, and yes, nice. Now it's still the same in-game design, and actually what happened now is the game is looking for that folder, because it wants the texture files that you just said. But what happens and what the game does is, when you go back into your Assetto Corsa Competizione folder and then check Liveries, you see the folder popping up there if you sort by date. And what the game already now does is it gives you the two material property files that you want or need for editing later on, and already sets up the folder for you. So there's basically nothing you need to do now. You can skip this step if you want and just, you know, establish the folder manually. So that's also no problem. And there you go. You basically have this folder name, and you see in your custom liveries a folder structure. There's like, wow, if you just look at mine, it's just huge. So that means that I always get the question, can people or other drivers in multiplayer see my custom livery? They cannot. They can only see it if they have the texture files. So like, for example, here in my GT4 car, they are missing these texture files. But what the game does is, if you or other players with a custom livery join the game, it sets up this file structure. You see? And it just opens up a folder for every other livery. And if you sometimes maybe have a livery or download in from someone else, you see it. And that's the reason for why, for example, our race department, who are supporting this video, so thanks again to the guys from race department, have the platform so that you can download the liveries. And that's also the reason why I'm sharing my custom liveries all in my Discord and on my Google Drive. See ya, Alex. Hope see you again soon. Tomorrow and on Sunday. So yeah, that's basically the reason why you have so many folders in there. But yeah, as I said, you can skip this step. So what you can do is edit the JSON file of the car with the folder name, and then just create the folder there, and just take the material properties that I have in the video description below that are named accordingly for glossy, metallic, or whatever you need, and copy them in there. But anyway, let's just do it step by step. So we have the folder now, we have everything set up, and now it's actually time to work on a custom livery. And the cool thing here is actually you can keep the game running, because no matter what you do and no matter what you change, you can edit and save the textures and then just go back into the game and it refreshes live. So there's no need to restart the game over and over and over and waste a lot of time and go crazy. You can just keep it running in the background and come back to it. And that's how I actually really enjoy working on a custom livery. You can see what type of file it is. That's a JSON. Or was it just a joke because the icons are so big? So anyway, any questions for these first few steps? I think they are pretty basic, pretty simple, pretty easy. And now before we go, yeah, I thought so, Mentorot. You're a funny guy. I was like, yeah, what? Do I need to make them bigger? So now that you're at the step, what do you want to do with your custom livery actually? No problem. It's always good to have somebody joking around me. The game actually has the option for the in-game designs. You have several different designs for a car. But as you can see, there is a carbon design. And the way you get this carbon design is through a little trick. And it's actually really interesting that this is showing up for me already. I think if you just activate it once, it stays there. But what's the difference? Actually, you see if you go back to the carbon livery, the number plate on the hood vanishes. And that's for most of the cars, actually. I think for the McLaren 720, it even is that it vanishes, like basically hides all the number plates. But what you see already here, the problem is that players who don't have your custom livery then see a completely blank car. And you might have noticed that in multiplayer already that there are quite a lot of people with a blank car. So you have several different options, and how you activate the carbon livery is actually fairly easy. And that's why I said we come back to the custom file later on. So you just head into your Assetto Corsa Competizione, just say ACC, customs, cars, and then edit again the car file that we just had. And here you have something called skin template key. And there's like 100 or 101 or 102 depending on which in-game template you selected. And you can put in 99 here. And that's actually the way how you force the game to activate the carbon livery for you, if it hasn't. And then you just save it again. And now what happened is actually... Why does it always change the car there? Yeah, see? It refreshed it to the carbon. So that's how you activate it. And then the cool thing is you can still edit, and the default 99 is then always on number 1, but you can still rotate through these designs. And how do I change the symbol image of your skin? Do you mean the team icon? Like this here? This can't be changed, unfortunately. At least I haven't found any way so far. That's always, if you do a custom team here, it keeps the ACC logo, unfortunately. So there's like, we are pretty restricted on the way we do that. So now that we activated the carbon style, you actually have to make a decision how complex or how you want your skin be. There are basically, I would say, 2 or even 3 different options. One is you take the carbon car and you completely layer a custom texture by using both of the sponsors and the decal texture files. And then you basically have to completely color and reskin the complete car. But that means that players then always see just carbon base car. And I, for myself, kind of, I don't know, I think that's annoying. So the way I do it is I usually use a standard design that fits the colors I want to have. And then again, completely layer the car with my custom texture. Meaning I do a full decal base layer with the sponsor stickers and decorations on top. But there is actually the third option that you save some time with, like, coloring the full car and use already an in-game base color, because this then also enables you to use 3 different materials. You could, for example, do a matte base car and just, you know, pick the same color for all the 3 different options and the same material. Then you have a completely flat car. And oh, by the way, if you use the carbon, you can't change the wheel colors, unfortunately. So that's really one of the reasons why I never use the carbon base, as you can see like that. And then we change it to the next design and voila, we have white rims. So that's very important to know as well. And this way, actually, you now, for example, have a matte in-game base design. And then you could use the decal base layer from the custom livery to like only partially color the car. and then use the sponsor layer on top for stickers or other decorations. And you could do these in different material properties. You could have the matte base layer, then you could do like glossy color stripes, like there's a foil wrapped around the car, and then for example you could do metallic or chrome sponsor logos or stickers. So you can go really crazy around that, and we will just go through this process to showcase this on the Bentley, because it's also, you know, it's a huge car. We have lots of space right there. So these are actually the 3 variations. Either you just pick your carbon base and completely use the 2 custom textures and 2 materials, or you use an in-game base design and recolor it completely so that other players in multiplayer also have something to look at and not just a carbon car. Or you go completely crazy and use 3 different materials like matte, glossy and chrome with 3 different layers by also again using the in-game car. And the cool thing is, once you have layered the car with like a custom texture, let me just show you on a different car that I currently do, which is the Cold Trickle Chevy NASCAR replica. And once you've layered your custom skin over it, and as you can see, you can still change the base. So there is no reason when you're like, for example, did your custom livery and you're not really happy with how it turned out, you can still play around with the in-game design. And that's why I actually now never use the 99 carbon base anymore. It's just for some cars it's cool because it gets rid of the hood sticker, but using the in-game design just opens up so many more possibilities and options for you to play around and just, you know, experiment. And yeah, it can save you a lot of work if, for example, like here, I don't need to color all the parts in the template black and then just put it on top with the stickers and everything. So it's really a huge time saver. But depending on how complex you want to go and, you know, what deliveries you want to do. Hey Jason, how are you doing? Thanks for joining in, mate. So depending on how complex the whole stuff for you is, you might need to completely layer the car anyway. For example, I downloaded something really crazy from Race Department. Let me just showcase to you. There's some really crazy liveries out there. Okay, I don't have it right there. It was actually, no, it was the Porsche Cup, right? Yes. Hold on a second, Porsche Cup. That's the one I'm using. So there are some really complex liveries like there with 2 layers and textures and everything and lots of cool effects. So you can go really crazy there. By the way, I really love the car. It's so much fun and I'm gonna drive it on Sunday, Porsche Cup car. So anyway, let's get back to that. So we have settled into it. We designed a team. We have all the different cars you see with the different... that was actually the thumbnail preview picture I edited. I just have to save the skin again. So we just explained that. We set up the car. We have our structure. We can actually work on the livery template. So all the download links are below in the description. There is also the link to Photopea. If you're still looking for a free alternative to Photoshop or are not happy with GIMP or whatever, feel free to give it a try. It's a really cool tool. So download all the templates and then it's actually time to go really, really crazy. And a few different things I actually want to talk about here is like, I don't know, do you want me to like show you now all the like steps and different tools that I use and, you know, how to like what you should be aware of and what you need to know when coloring? Or do you want more like the theory of where to get inspiration, how to make the race car really cool, how to find logos and stuff like that? Let's just maybe quickly let me know in chat what you prefer. Then I can take a quick drink before I lose my voice. Hey! Templates are linked in the description. I think I have 3 different links for the 2020 Evolution cars, for the GT4 cars, and for the GT3 templates. And by the way, we just had over 100 viewers, so thanks everyone for tuning in. That's like a new record for me. That's awesome, the demand for custom liveries. So if you're here for the first time, I would really appreciate if you can hit thumbs up or subscribe for any future content updates. That would be so cool. So Kami is here, hey! Yes, Camille, just, you know, stick with it and then you can rewatch it again. So anyway, let's just start with the templates and what to do, because I think everybody's eager to work on custom liveries here. So download the templates. They are all Photoshop templates, but you should be able to open them in GIMP or in Photopea. There's a link again in the description here to Photopea. Free to use online software similar to Photoshop, so no need to install anything. And then you go and open the car template. For, in our case, the example was the Bentley. Let me just hope it's a clean one. Oh, it's not nearly clean. I need to clean it up. Naughty Boonatix didn't save it properly. Because when you open it up first, it will look something like that. By the way, we can still keep the game up running in the background. Let's just hope you see everything. So the first time you open up the template, you're like, oh my god, holy crap, what's going on here? I have no idea what it is. And yeah, funny story is actually some of the templates have a color layer. For example, the GT4 Camaro and a lot of GT4 cars have that. They have this crazy color palette to ID parts. What you can do is you use that and save it as a texture file and load it into the game to identify parts, but most of the cars don't have that. So your first challenge actually might be how you identify all the crazy parts here. I mean, most of the things are pretty obvious. For example, like for example, like the hood, the roof, the doors. These are like the front side panels. This looks like the rear in the game, you know, this looks like some kind of wing or diffuser stuff. Oh, here is actually the wing. So if you're having troubles identifying parts, there are like these, Peter, help me out, there's like these heat textures that you can overlay and save, but you can also, one thing you can do if you're just having, if you're just having a really hard time identifying a part, the way I start is just like, I take a bright color. No. Oh, Jesus. That's when you have 2 screens. So, I'll take a bright color. Something like this. That you can really see in the game. And then you can start painting stuff. Just like... Oh, that's the wrong. Yeah, okay. Let's just take a step back. Let's just we are going too fast. So before we do any of that, you can use 2 custom textures: decals, PNGs, or the sponsors PNGs, as you can see here. So you can make a car and give it 2 layers, like you can see here in my Camaro one. So decals is always the layer that goes on top of the base design of the car, like you did in-game, and sponsors goes on top of decals. So sponsors is always the top layer, decals is the middle layer, and the in-game design or carbon layer is the lowest layer. Camille, I'm your twin brother. Yeah, I was born in 83. Usually I take 983 because I was born in September, so. Hey James, awesome. Edwin, hey. Affinity is a good option, thanks for that. Daniel, the creativity with materials. Honestly, I'm not going so much crazy, but I can show you some ideas. So this is the structure of the custom skins. And to make it easier for you when you work in Photopea or GIMP or Affinity or whatever program is, keep yourself a tidy structure like we have here. So we create a folder, and what I always do is I create a folder for the decals. And then I also create a folder for the sponsors texture. And then everything you do, you sort into the corresponding layer. And for example, then let's start with decals because we want to give the car some color. And then I always name the layer depending corresponding to the color. So let's say this one is for decals, and I don't know what color do we want to give our Bentley. We want to give our Bentley like red. Move the file explorer. Everything should be for the, because here is just a color. So let's just call our first color red. And then we start just experimenting and go crazy. And how do you color parts? You might think this is really complicated. And some of the stuff that I learned, I think Photopea has the tool, which is here the polygon lasso tool. You can either work by selecting whatever your tool has or the lasso tool. For example, I most of the time just use the lasso tool. And the way this works is just really cool. You just click and like draw a border around the parts that you want to color. And remember now, because we are not using an in-game like base design, just a flat white color, let's just color only parts of the car. Like let's take the hood for example right now. And then we can just completely fill it up. So that's basically a very quick way to color parts. But what we can also do is just use the brush tool. And the way you quickly draw lines with the brush tool is you click and then hold shift. And then it just draws the line. And you just keep shift active. And it just click, 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 click. And always just, you know, make sure that you go across this pink border. The pink border that you see here is always the border of the part. And if you have like in the wireframe lines that are like this, which are like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines, it means that this part of the frame of the texture gets bent around something. So this is what you have to keep in mind if you are kind of looking to do like liveries that are cutting sponsor stickers or stuff like that. So pink is the border of the part. And if you have like thick or triple or quadruple lines like there, it's gonna be bent. Like here, for example, the door handles and stuff like that. And here the pink line is the border of the roof, for example. So I always keep pressing the wrong button there. For example, and here with the brush tool, once you've kind of layered out your border, you can then fill it up with some paint. And for whatever reason, it just always keeps making this stupid line once I filled it up. And this is actually the way how you can really quickly color parts. Yeah, 4K UV map is what you can use to identify. Magic marking, creating a layer with fill parts, also an option. Like, you know, you need to find, whoops. You basically need to find your flow or your rhythm, however you want to color that. And now as a test, we colored our first parts, and I just want to show you how easy that is. And what you then need to actually deactivate is, you need to activate the wireframe and then the colored background layer to make it transparent. And then in addition, the decal layer, which is our color layer, you also need to deactivate the sponsors and the designs first. You can also deactivate window frame, so that only just your decal layer is left where you put it. And then what you do is you save that as a PNG, and you need to save it in the folder for the custom livery that we just set up through the game, which is our BNTX Workshop Bentley. And there you just name it decals.png or decals.png. And then the game asks you how to save that. And actually here you can choose already the smallest file size. It takes a bit longer to save, but it compresses the PNG a bit better, so it saves some space for you. And now actually that's done. That would actually be the first step. So you can immediately hop back into the game. And then what you do is you click on the number here. And ta-da! It updates what you just did. And this is actually the quickest back and forth. And as you can see, the red color is glossy because the way the game set up the first folder when we did the car is the texture, the standard texture property is always glossy. And hey, Kevin, 5 is it British pounds? Thank you so much, mate. That's awesome. I very much appreciate it. Thank you. And my pleasure providing the tutorial. That's actually most of the fun for me. And Pete, we will talk about that later. So MS Paint, yeah, I want to see a challenge, Edwin. Come on, let's do one in MS Paint. So the standard materials is glossy, but in the beginning we don't really need to worry about that. But as I talked about, you know, the borders of the parts, you can see the pink line was the border here for the hood, and the pink line was the border for this part. So when I talk about like the parts that are kind of bent, you see that here. And oh, for example, yeah, middle mouse button. If you click the middle mouse button in the showroom, you can get rid of the HUD to do some cool screenshots. So these are like shapes and parts that are bent. And if we look at that in Photoshop on the wireframe texture, let's just reactivate it again. That's this part here. And you can see that, oh jeez. These are like the triple and quadruple lines there. You can see that here. And that's actually this bent part here. So you can see these are the sections where if you want to layer something over, you kind of need to be aware of. So that's just really helpful to know for you if you're working on something more complex. And this was decals. So you see we have a white base car from the in-game base color. We have the decals layer with red, and we can actually use as many colors as we want on the base car. For example, you can now do a layer for the decals and say, okay, now I want to put in some black. And then you just start working with black. And a very interesting thing to know is actually for the game to display black and white properly, you should not go full black. You should use something along the lines which is 10R, 10G and 10B. So not the darkest black. And with white, you want to put in 247, 247, 247. That's just the way how the engine in-game displays the colors. Because if you take pure white, it can have really a hard time with reflections and stuff like that. And if you take pure black, somehow the same. So let's just always 10, 10, 10 for black and 247 times 3 for white. And then you can do the same in the black layer. You can either color full parts, or you can just put some geometric lines or shapes or whatever. You can just, you know, go crazy. And as I said, the way I usually do it is I keep a base design from the game, and then I layer just parts over it. But if you really want to use the carbon base, or like a fancy color that you don't see in the game, you have to color every single part that is visible. Meaning you don't want to color everything, because not everything is visible, and you want to save file size. Oh, that's also a nice one. Thanks for sharing, Peter. So we got a lot of free programs actually that are similar to Photoshop. So now you might be thinking, holy crap, when I look at that Bentley livery, how the hell should I know what part is what part, you know? And the easiest way is, for example, like Peter just shared with the, what was it called, 4K UV map to find parts. But if you, we could just basically quickly Google that to show you how it looks like. Because that's what we are here for. So if you Google for like a 4K UV map, looks like that, and the first one is already really good there. Oh wow, nice. Is there a bigger version of it? Come on. So, and the reason why we do that, because this can help you identify parts if the template doesn't have that. So let's just save that here. Just save that here. So I was just Googling here for 4K UV map, and the first one is actually this one. And the reason why we do that is, I'm gonna just show you this version, and then I'll show you usually my approach. You just pull the layer on top of the livery, and you see it fits perfectly because the liveries are 4K from the game. So you just put that into the Photoshop template, and then again you just save this either as sponsors or as decals. If you do that in the beginning, it doesn't matter, but you can basically keep that just to, you know, from time to time if you need to identify something. So again, we go into our Liveries folder and let's just save it as the decal layer. So we have everything set, and this might now take a while because it's a huge one. Still saving. The only way Philip is actually screenshotting. You screenshot the in-game colors and then pull it into Photoshop and take it. But also cool idea, Peter, you could add a degree of transparency as well so you can see the wireframe through it. But as you, holy crap, that's really taking a long to save actually. Which is interesting, still on an SSD hard drive, and it takes nearly a minute now to save and compress. Did we just crash our Photoshop? I hope we did not. Come on. Still saving. How crazy is that? Oh, Edwin, that's a good input. Yes, white paper is never really white. So it's done. So if we now refresh the car, you have this one. And it looks really cool, like the periodic table of elements, but it helps you identify parts because of the color. So if you're now unsure, for example, what these parts there are in the back, you can just like use some opacity there or just flip it around like that, and then you know, okay, this is something with dark red or something, so it has to be somewhere here. And this way you can really have an easier time identify parts. Because, for example, the funny part is actually with the Bentley, it has some hidden parts that you can color. Like here behind the grill. And that's really cool actually. And if you're still, if this is too complicated for you, you can take a bit of a slower approach and do like a decal layer. Let's just call it ID, decals ID. And if you want to find out what parts are doing what, you just, as I said, take a bright color and then you just start painting either numbers or just lines on the parts that you want to find, you know. You can just pick some green line here, pick some green line here. You want to find out what this is, so you do some swirly here. And perhaps you are unsure, yeah, what are other parts, for example, what is this one? So you do some zigzag here. And then you do the same thing again. You save it as decal PNG. In your folder, so this one should now save fast. And to make it a bit faster, we just use medium file size now, because we can compress it afterwards. How about loading graphics and pictures? That's no problem, we will show that as well. So now we hop back into the game, update it, and oh yeah, we forgot to deactivate the wireframe. That's a cool example as well, which can help you identify parts. So as you can see, the part with the zigzag is here, but what about the other parts? And then, oh, look at that, they are hiding down there. So if you use different colors like that, you will have easier, for me actually this is easier than the 4K UV map, it's just confusing. And yeah, Peter, it's like an Airfix model. I think, I don't know, you have to be a certain genius to identify parts like that. I have an easier way like that, and you can see that you can utilize the wireframe that's actually in there to help you identify the parts, or maybe use the wireframe for a cool livery. But as you noticed, we always talk about we have two layers of texture files, decals and sponsors, and you will notice that there are stickers on there that we actually didn't put on it. Why are there stickers? And the thing is that if you only save a decals texture, the game will always use these sponsor designs that are basically standard in the game but not shown. So if you want to get rid of these sponsors, for example, or if you just want to edit these sponsors, what you can do, for example, is duplicate the sponsor sticker layer so that you always like keep them. But then again, And after you duplicated it, you just, you know, go back to the original sponsors layer. And if you just want to get rid of the total, for example, in the rear, you can just cut it out. But if you want it back, you can always activate the duplicate again and you have it. But this way you can actually get rid only, you know, of some of the logos that you really want to get rid, or you just deactivate it completely, and also the black bar design here. And then UV. So if you want to just use the decal layer and nothing else, you either save your decals as sponsors PNG, or you save a blank sponsors PNG. So we already got the question in chat now, how to incorporate stickers and graphics, etc. So you want to keep on working and keep your base colors in the folder for decals. So, and the thing is why I put it into folders actually is because you can then just easily switch between sponsors and decals to save the texture files. So you can just with one click deactivate anything. So we now basically set our base layer here with our fancy wireframe and our first graphics. So the cool thing here is now actually you can still edit the car and the color. Oh no, now it doesn't work because we have the white base color. But we could still change rim colors like that. So just for showcasing, let's deactivate. Let's save a proper version again of this one. Finally we got it in our shortcut bar there. And that's basically how easy it is, how quickly you can edit that. So as you can see, we can still change the colors of the car if we want to, or the design, or go back to the carbon design. So that's how easy it is, and that's why I usually always use a base design. Okay, so now we already got the question about stickers. So the cool thing is now we do our decal layer, like to have our base colors like I did here. I have my base colors, and then I can pull in sponsors and logos or pictures or whatever. But the thing here is, don't use like really huge high resolution pictures or sponsors, because it just blows up the file size and we don't want it. We want to have like save as much space as we can. Yeah, CTRL Shift and S to save as. I'm just so in the rhythm for this right now. Yeah, it might be a bit tedious, Camille, but I think also it's a bit more kind of satisfying and easier. The UV map is just like punch in the face for me. And yeah, logos. So you have your base colors, you want to have a cool colored car, and then you want logos, because either you want to recreate a livery or you want to incorporate some funny logos or whatever. So the way I mostly go about that is I just like Google for it. And the cool thing is there are actually a lot of databases of free PNGs for logos, for example. Like let's say you need the, or like, I mean, you can Google everything. Let me just show you the collection I already have. Yeah, here is like already what I used and what I Googled with. You can find Red Bull, Chevrolet, Nürburgring. You find all the logos. GT4 European Series, Golf Racing logo, for example. Yeah, everything that you basically want. There are huge stock collections of like all race car sponsors and logos that are just for free. There is no need to pay for anything. It's not illegal or anything, so you can just get that. And the crazy thing is, for example, you always should use as a PNG, because then you have the benefit that the background is empty. So if you search for logos, always search for the PNG. And then what you do is you open the file, and if they are like a really huge resolution, you just slim them down already. So this logo is already 3500 in width, and I don't really need that, so I can already slim it down. And what you then just do is you pull it over to your car. That's how easy it is. And then of course we move that into the sponsors folder. And always rename the stuff you pull in. So that's like the race department logo. Yeah, stickers have to be low res. It's good when they have like kind of a better resolution, but it's always better to resize them properly so that you don't get into any big, because the file size can blow up really quickly actually. So, and we want to have that, and we see, for example, we want to have that on the door, and the door is sideways. So we just rotate it, put that here on the door. And there might be the number plate stuff going over it, so we just pull it up there. So that's like our only sponsor sticker right now, but that's just all I need to showcase that to you. So now again we get rid of the wireframe and the background to just make sure can get rid of everything just for the sponsors. And then we save that as well into ours. And this one needs to be named as sponsors.png because it goes above the decal layer. And that's saved fairly quickly. And we just update, and there it is. And that's basically how easy you can set up the sponsors layer, because you now got rid of all the stock sponsors of the black bar and everything. Because that was in this one here. Sponsors and design. So we got rid of that. That's replacing the whole sponsor layer. And this way you can completely and freely customize your car. And now you might think, okay, I've done my colors in the decal layer, I do my logos and stickers in the race department layer, but how can I now change the material properties? Like, I don't want glossy, I want metallic or something else. So this is where these two fellas come into play, that the game adapted for us. The decals and sponsors JSON files. And when you open these, you have this little text in there. And what I provide you in a download link in the description as well is already a pre-made material. So let's just, for the sake of this, delete these two. And when you download my folder with the pre-made material files, which are these, for example, you just copy. Let's say we want one layer to be chrome and one layer to be metallic. So let's just copy these two into our custom livery folder. And then let's say, okay, I want my decals, my color to be chrome. So I need to rename that to decals and always keep the JSON property. And I want my sponsors to be metallic. So I just rename this to sponsors. And that's actually it. Just make sure you're back in the menu, and now you open the car and you can immediately see the difference. See, the red is chrome and the sticker is metallic. That's it. That's the magic. You don't have to basically copy the material files. You can also just open this up and copy paste the text of them. But I find that's actually the easiest way to do it. Try here for, yeah, the Gran Turismo page, Peter. Thank you very much. That's a good one. You find so many logos and stuff like there. Does the custom livery also show on public servers? You are the only one who sees it, except if you share the files that you just did, the custom textures. If you share these files like across race department, for example, and download it, let people download it, or the way I share it on my Discord or my Google Drive, then they see it. But otherwise, unfortunately, the game is not sharing it, so it's not like trading panes of like iRacing or something. So those were actually all the steps, and now is the time that you can really go crazy. But there are some things that can make your life either a bit hard or a bit challenging, because, for example, let's say you want to have the race department logo go from not only the door, but you want to have it like huge from the door to the rear. But you notice, okay, that means I need to cut the picture, and that's just actually a bit trial and error. It might cost some time in the beginning, but it's actually, the more often you do it, the better you get a feeling for it, and the easier it is actually. But let's just showcase it to you here. Let's just make that a bit bigger, because we now want to have it, well, maybe a bit too big. We wanted to go across door and car. So what I do now is, you need to cut the logo and separate it. But what I do is I duplicate this logo just to make sure I don't cut the original one, or I don't lose the original one. And then you have two options. You either cut one apart, or you just pull the copy. Like for example, let's just pull the copy and leave the original there. So we need to look at the door. Okay, it kind of cuts in the middle of the E. And as I said, some of the files have 2 or 3 lines there. So you see that the door is not actually cut there. It's like going around the edge. So that's what you need to keep in mind, that the end of the door, as you see it here, is not the pink line. It's actually the first black line here, because after the first black line it kind of cuts around the edge. So we need to cut actually inside here and not out of here. But anyway, we have the door now, and we know it's kind of here from the we need to cut it from the E, and the door connects somewhere here. And then, you know, just it's like you can use these lines there. If you feel like the bend is here and then the lines there, let's just say it's somewhere here probably. And then just position it a bit more generously, so that like you maybe have more of the E here, like just a tiny bit more. And then you just need to get rid of, you only actually need to get rid of stuff that overlays other parts that you want, and just like leave a bit of space that you can move. So the original logo, let's just get rid of this here so that it's not overlapping. And now basically we took the first step. It should look like that. So this is like basically the first rough try. We need to kind of see where it lines up, and then again we just save it here as the sponsors. Refresh it in here, and voila, we see, oh wow, we were really far off. And now comes in the beginning the tiny bit tedious part. Now it's just really trial and error, trying to fix that. So and it's not hard, it's just time consuming. And if you just keep the game always running in Windows background mode, it's really easy. So you have either now the way of, like for example, tilting it a little bit or moving it up and down, and that's just not depending on you. And the more you play around, the more complicated it gets, for example. But it's just you know, getting used to that. For example, you can do it like that. You just give it a bit of a tilt angle, and then you do the same here, so you can get that a bit along. But anyway, you just, yeah, whoop. It's just trial and error from now on to like really make this work. And it really might cost some time in the beginning. So this might even be more below there. And it's just that's the most tedious part, which honestly I rarely do that. Or I just do like simple lines or stuff like that, because this is actually the part that takes most of your time if you want to do a really custom and complex livery. It's just a back and forth, but you just keep the game open in the background, save it and refresh it, and you immediately see, oh okay, we're getting closer to that. So we need to move this part actually a little bit more up there. And then it's again just save it, and it's a back and forth. And the more often you do that, the more you get kind of a feeling for, you know, the shapes. Hello from Russia, hello from Austria. How is it going, Dennis? What is my field of view? It's just, I think, the standard field of view in the game most of the time. And see, now it was a bit too far. So I actually don't want to spend all the time on this, but you kind of get the hang of it. And one other thing you have to be aware of is the car is not flat. As you can see, it has a lot of bends, and some of the wireframe just doesn't go flat around the car, but it kind of bends around some parts, and then can mean that a straight line starts to kind of warp strangely. And this is also something that you find out by just experimenting. How does field of view play into what he's doing now? It just doesn't play into, but people are curious what I use when driving, so that's not a problem. So for this example now, I want to show you actually what I've been working on for the Camaro, because the Camaro has a really tricky rear. And what I just mean by bends and shapes is actually, you would think that when you see the wireframe, you just want to have like a red stripe. And what I did is I just really pulled a strip like that. Like you see it like there. I just pulled a line from left to right like that. I thought, okay, that's it. I will get a really nice and clean line. But what actually happened in the game is the line got warped on the livery of the car, on the car model. And the reason for this is because yeah, every car has curves and turns and bends and shapes, similar to beautiful women, like, you know, all the shapes and forms and bends. So this is kind of indicated by the way the wireframe goes, and you can see that here, that actually the wireframe bends in the way the texture then gets bent over the car. So this is a cool indicator for you to use these lines. And let me just switch to the car there to just make it easier to show you what I'm talking about here. You can see how the line is being bent. You see, you still see it. It's really hard to get rid of that. But if you're like a perfectionist, like a tiny perfectionist like I am, you want to work along these lines, and they are an indication here. So if I just quickly get rid of the color, you can see I was following this line here to make the line on the texture on the car completely, or like nearly completely flat. And the way you can do it, I think Photopea and most of the files have either like a curvature tool or like a normal pen tool. You don't need to get completely crazy, but you can use these pen or yeah, I think most of them call it pen tools, and then follow these lines and the crossings. And the way you just do that is you select a pen tool. I get rid of the fill, so I don't want to have a fill color, and I just want the stroke color. And you can also set the thickness. And then what you just do is you click. That's your first anchor point. And then you click again here. Sorry. Oh, let's just do it properly, guys. Sorry. Just quickly get rid of this. So let's say we want to follow these lines. So we choose the pen tool, no fill, stroke with thickness, and then we just follow this line. First anchor point, second anchor point, third, fourth, and the more you follow, the more it will follow the shape and lines of a car. And that's how you make sure that a line that should be completely flat, like completely straight, like this, actually bends in the correct way around the car. And that's just, again, learn by doing and experimenting. Hey, greetings back to South Africa. Awesome. Are you living near Kyalami? Imagine how easy it was with the straight lines of the 80s. Yes. So depending on what car you're having and how crazy the bends and shapes are and what you are doing, you can have either an easier time or a hard time. So in this case, it was a bit of a tougher time. An easier time was this one, where I just used a matte black car, like you can see here. I actually used a standard design of the car and then just layered the colors and stripes over. And Camille, thank you so much. For sure will stay that way, because that's just me. And rule number one on YouTube is always be who you are and stay like who you are, you know? So thank you so much, that's really cool. Yes, like that. Center wheel on mouse, middle mouse button, showroom. So this was actually a bit of a more basic livery that didn't have any crazy stuff and just some sponsor stickers. So let me just show you the template for this as well. So that you can get a bit of inspiration and a feeling. I I have too many liveries. Always save each template. So yeah, that was it. Actually, what I did here, I do use an in-game design, as you can see here, with matte black and yellow and red. But you can't see it because the custom livery is being layered over it. That's what you can see here. It's actually, I use a full matte black base layer that I save as decals PNG, which is a lot of work. But the cool thing is, once you do it and you want to change the color here, that's why I say always keep it written down in a layer. You can easily change colors there. For example, oh no, I want to have a red base color. So you can quickly change stuff in here if you keep a good layer structure. 1300 kilometers far away from Kailami. Oh, that's just, you know, a short road trip. Karamidaro. I don't do custom liveries per se for other guys, because it's just so much work to do. But in my Discord I have an official graphic partner, Matokodori Marcello, who is doing custom liveries, and today actually I will give away a custom livery. I will make an exception. So at the end of my workshop we will just do a little revel with everyone in chat still hanging out, and you can win a custom livery designed by me, and I'll do one for the winner as long as it's not too complicated. So just hang out for a bit and we're just gonna give away a custom livery. You can get an original custom livery designed by me. So how does that sound? So yeah, for the Pencil Camaro I did a full color overlay, and actually GT4 cars are really nice. They are so easy to color. Most of them have really basic liveries. And then I just used everything else on the sponsor layer, and you can see there are a lot of layers. So that's why I always, you know, tell people rename everything you do. And then you can just see I used all the logos I googled for Pencil and everything, and just positioned them how I needed them. And the interesting thing here is as well with the Camaro, you can see that not all the logos are completely aligned, like in a line, in a horizontal line. They have a short degree, a slight degree. And the thing again here is, the reason here is because of the way the wireframe bends around the car. And as again, I use these lines. First of all, I just, you know, I did delivery and I saw in game, oh my god, the logo is completely the wrong, yeah, it's a weird angle. So then I just adapted it a little bit and voila, that's how you get it. And yeah. That's just your inclination, or no, your indication is always these lines. And oh, we have another super chat. Karamidaru, thank you so much. Very much appreciated. Glad you're enjoying the show. Thank you so much for the support. So, designing a custom livery is actually, the steps I hope are basic. You get a basic idea. It's kinda easy to start, but it's really hard to master actually. And you can go completely crazy. So the decision you have to make is, do I want to have a really cool and realistic looking race car livery? Do I want to replicate a race car livery, for example? And I want to show you a huge project I had which took like 15 or 16 hours to do. And that's the Green Beast. Anyone who's kind of fan of Nürburgring Nordschleife knows this car, and I found some pictures of it and tried to recreate it painstakingly, as realistic as possible. So that's like really a crazy livery, and I guess I'll never do something like that again. Mad Panda, that's why we usually saves, well, if you save it as bigger files as in the beginning, so that you don't have to wait so long and the system is not working that hard. It's actually not really taxing on the system. Darcy, you cannot avoid the freezing. You can just decrease the amount of time by compressing the PNGs, and that's why we are always saving as smallest file size. But that's an important part. Once you are done with your custom livery, you should compress the PNGs, because when you are having all the custom textures of people, and you can see that actually when I race with Simracing XP, somebody joins the server with a custom livery, you have the texture files and your screen freezes for a second. or like even half a second, or sometimes even 2 seconds. And that's because of the file size, and nobody really understands that, because you have the file on your hard drive, on your SSD, or a really fast drive or whatever, but still the game freezes. And this has to do with the file size. And I saw custom liveries go over like 10 megabytes or even more, and that's just crazy. So when you do a custom livery, and you see this one, for example, is 298 kilobytes, you can even compress that. And the way you just do that is pretty simple, actually. You use a provider like Compress PNG. And there you just upload your file, say compress, and then you can get a compressed file back. But beware, Compress PNG renames your files. So it renames the decals.png and sponsors.png to like decals minus mini or something. So once you get it back after compression and downloaded it, make sure to save it, and again make sure and change the names to sponsors and decals.png so that it still works. I had that issue with another livery, so yeah, always compress the PNGs before you share any custom livery to decrease this stupid annoying lag that we have when joining a game. Best kept as small. Yes, you can even decrease the resolution of the livery here. For example, this is I think like 4000 times 4000. Yeah, you can cut it in half actually. If you use like a basic livery like mine with just the colors that doesn't require a high resolution, you can just cut that by half, 2000 something, and it will still look fine, but save space. Camille, absolutely. I can't stop making custom liveries. I just started that whole adventure and now I can't stop. Oh, the game needs to convert the PNG to a DX11 format. Okay, that might be the input lag then. That's interesting to know. Thank you, Darcy. Yes, the beast is available for download in this YouTube channel. You just need to pop into the channel and check the video, and there is a download link. And most of them are also my Discord. So, we covered a lot actually. Using logos, finding parts. This is actually a prime example of the Evangelion 2 Mercedes I did. Let me show you in-game for the new Evolution car. That's, I think, one of my nicest ones. I really enjoyed it. And you can see I used a matte base decal layer and then a glossy. You see the glossy differences there. And the cool thing is I found out that you can color the front grille of the new Mercedes AMG, so I did that as well. But as you can see, the challenge here is I actually completely fully colored all of the car. And now looking back at it, I would probably not do that again. Because the red, actually, I could have just, you know, used the red base layer with a dark red in-game, but I just wanted that specific red shade the game didn't offer so far. And that's why I recolored all of it and then painstakingly positioned everything. So this is like really how far you can take custom liveries. You can do an, yes, Benji, that's a really good question and a good example. You can do an overlay fade. Let me just show you, because that's an interesting design maybe for a lot of people. Let's just do that for our Bentley experiment here. So let's say we want a crazy fade. Our base car is white. Let me just quickly show you what happens. So let's get rid of that red here. Let's just do it, for example, on the roof. I mean, the painstaking process here as well, you basically need to do it part by part, because if you make a gradient all over the wireframe, it will just mess up all parts. Well, let's do it like that. We then use our gradient tool. Use red. Do it like that. So that's just really simple now. It's just one gradient, and we save that as the base layer, because we want to do some base colors. But you could as well also do it as a sponsors layer and like do a base color and do a fade with a sponsor sticker or something. So the possibilities are endless. So let's just replace the complete decals layer there, and then we need to find our experimental Bentley. There you go. You see? Beautiful chrome fade. And the cool thing now is, since I use an in-game base, I can now change the color and see what happens. How cool is that? So this is how you can actually get really crazy color combinations through fades. Was that, did I answer the question, Benji? I hope it's clear. So, and then you can just like really go crazy. The only thing is that you just basically need to select the part, like with either the polygon lasso tool, and just, you know, keep marking only the part you want to have the fade on. This way you make sure that the fade is not going to any other part that you might not want to do. So you have it marked and then you do another fade here. And then you just save it again. And that's really the cool thing. If you then use an in-game design from the game with colors, it does the fancy stuff like that. So now we have two fades. How cool is that? That's actually, I never did it. I always thought about doing a car with some fading, but I've never done it. But yeah, as you can see, it's like all forms of crazy combinations will become possible for you. The gradient tool, it might be with right click. It's here. There's like gradient and paint bucket tool directly below the eraser tool. If you right click, you get more options. You see these little arrows there. Right click, gradient tool. And if not, I think you can change the toolbars, but that's, I don't know how to do that now. Photoshop is really overwhelming. Yeah, that's why I linked a Photopea down below, which is like an easier, simpler solution actually. So here is another example where I completely colored the base of the car in the Gulf Racing colors, because in-game there's not really a color for it. So I did the decals and then the separate sponsor layer, as you can see. And I got a question that like, how do you identify the colors? So if you're looking for a specific color, what I just do here is I take a screenshot. I open the screenshot in Photoshop, and then I'll just take the color like that. That's how I try to use the colors of the game. They might not look exactly the same, also depending on which material properties you use, but this way you can kind of keep it similar if you use a base color in game and then want to have some other stuff over there or whatever. So that's actually the easiest way to get close to the game colors. Rick, great information, enthusiasm is contagious. Thank you so much, Rick. You have a question. Some cars have the driver's name on the door. If you do a custom skin, you completely replace that. So the way I did it actually is, where did I do that? I did it then manually in, as you said, the sponsors layer, and just put my name on there. I think I did it here, yes. See? Just put it on the sponsor layer, as you can see here. And that's this car. See? I do it manually. Because real race cars have the driver names and nationality there, right? Windows Paint guy. Okay, yeah, Peter has all the cool tools. Yeah, I just recommend either you use Photopea, GIMP, or whatever Peter is suggesting. There's so many tools. The simpler, the better, actually. So, that was actually the whole process. One fun thing to know is actually that some cars, not all, allow you to have something on the bottom of the wing. Where is it? The Camaro actually allows it. And you can't see it as clearly in the showroom, unfortunately, because of all the lighting coming from the top and the car reflections. But in the game then, you see it really cool. So you can put some cool messages there. And in the game it looks like that. I did one. Where can you see it? Depending on the coloring, so you could, for example, see that it's much better there because the light, depending on the daylight where you're racing. So if you share your custom livery with other people that you race with, you can give them some nice messages there, like when in doubt, just go flat out and stuff like that. So that's a real cool gimmick, but it doesn't work with every car. I don't really know it. Sometimes the layer or the way the stuff gets layered on the base completely eats it up. So that's really unfortunate, but yeah. So this will be my next livery that I'm working on and trying to finish, hopefully in time for the race next week on Tuesday. And this now actually brings me to the point that I wanted to talk about, because I see so many crazy custom liveries, and don't get me wrong, I really love it how people get creative and how I kind of started to inspire people. But I also always, or very often, see questions of people like, but how can I make my livery look like a race car, and what's the secret? And there is no real secret, because what you should do first is take a look at real race cars. And the way I usually take on custom liveries right now is part replicas. For example, like I did the Green Beast. Just search for pictures, and these are very small pictures. Unfortunately, I had a better one actually that was a bit bigger by then. But yeah, I look for cars. I often Google for just best retro race car liveries, best vintage liveries, best classic car liveries, or just car liveries, for example. This one was actually an easy find, NASCAR. You can always take inspiration from NASCARs, but the problem with NASCARs is always they just plaster the car with sponsors, and you don't want that. That's just not GT style. So Aris, Aris is having a stream in like 40 minutes. I need to hurry up. Hey Enrique, nice to hear. Get creative, mate. So take inspiration from real race cars, and I love how people get crazy with like really amazing designs in the game, but some often just look too bloated. And the reason is that the cars are usually not driving artworks. From time to time they are, like the BMW, the art project or stuff like that. Well, when we look at like not newer but like older GT race cars, like the Aston Martin V12, which was based on this Le Mans design, you can see that race cars are usually, or most of the time, really simplistic. And the reason is that most of the time people have accidents, and you need to replace a part, and you don't want to have a design or like sponsor stickers or color on parts that you can't really reach. Or if you have to replace a part, it's always best if there is not really fancy stuff on it, you know, because the more fancy stuff or livery or design you have in real life, the more expensive it can be. So usually car designs were really simplistic, with just like a base color, a base sponsor design that most of the time complements the lines of the car. So this is a really simplistic design actually, but you can see they opted for like the orange trim around the windows, the orange trim on the bottom, and it really just shows you how lines can complement a race car. Even if you look at like really classic liveries, like this Martini and Rossi livery for the Porsche, you can just see that they opted for a purple-blue base color and then used the green decor to like really follow the flow of the car and make it more, you know, look more alive. And that's just one thing you really can try when doing like a custom livery like that. If you just like take the Bentley for example, and when you see that the car has like these shapes and bends and lines and turns, you can just use lines, use your tools to like put, like I showed you with the pen tool, to just add to these lines and make the car look more organic and just, you know, complement the shape and the line of the car. And then don't overdo it with sponsor logos. Sometimes less is just more, and that's I think why the Gulf Racing skin worked so really good, and why the why the pants oil skin actually works so good, because I would have had more space here to like really plaster it with sponsors and everything, but I just kept it simple. And one of the inspiration actually I think was from a Gran Turismo skin, which was this one. So you can really see that less is just sometimes more in this case. Oh, Aris, yes, because I screenshotted him. That's like, I just wanted to keep that picture of him. That was when he was talking about, he was getting so annoyed by people asking him about release dates and stuff, and he was like, I'm going to kill you. I was like, I need to save that picture because that's gonna haunt him forever, so... that's the guy your girlfriend tells you not to worry about, you know. Anyway. It's always also good to always just save cars you find and that you like for inspiration. So, for example, I really love the Super GT. And they are actually really going crazy. I mean, this is actually a custom livery that... Wow. You can find some of them for download and some are incorporated in the game. Hey, hello from Spain. Hello from Austria, Arthur. How are you doing? Thanks for stopping by. Are you guys still drowning in snow? Paint adds weight to the car, absolutely. So this is actually something teams rarely do, because it's just, if you just damage something there and you have to replace the whole part with that, it's just crazy. So they are kind of beautiful, but I think it's just a bit too much. So what I usually look out for is like liveries like that. I love that GTR design. It's just, it uses two colors, black and red. It just complements the lines of the car and the wings. It has a huge load of wings, actually. Look at the winglets. The amount of winglets is too damn high. And it just, even the sponsors really go along. And it's just nice how they position everything. So keep looking, and that's like an example livery I did for the Bentley, actually. And that's just, it's just too much. It might look astonishing and cool, but it's just too much. So I usually just, you know, look on Twitter or Facebook and do screenshots, but I also just keep searching. I just keep searching for like retro design liveries, or sometimes cars I liked that maybe have color combinations that I liked. Actually, the HKR teams are doing that really well, for example. You can see that they don't have crazy overlapping designs for parts. There's like basically their complete hood is black with just 4 stripes and 2 sponsors on. So if the hood gets ever crashed, no problem. You can just quickly... that's not an expensive paint or design job. So they do a really good job by complementing the lines of the car. You know, just give the flow, like start orange on the winglet, keep the orange line flowing there. So that's where you can get some really cool inspiration and try to just copy it or like draw inspiration from that. The first livery you did is sloppy. Yeah, most of the time you can't see it in the game, only if you get like really close. So my first custom liveries were also crazy. It's just, as anything, it's a skill you can practice with. And just look for inspiration. For example, I think one of the next liveries I'll do for the Camaro, because I'm so in love with the Camaro right now, is the DuPont from NASCAR that was also done here for somebody in Gran Turismo. Because again, it's a really nice and clean livery with beautiful colors, and I also thought about this one. Like, NASCAR gives you really cool ideas as long as you don't plaster the car with sponsor logos. So yeah, that was actually the whole process of working on custom liveries. Take note of the lines, of the bend, of the shapes of a car. And if there are not any more specific questions, I would actually come to my last part, which is how you do cool screenshots of your liveries. Because I did a video about it, but since then I learned again so much more. Thanks to some cool guys in my Discord and also in the community sharing their ideas and comments and feedback. And for this, we're just gonna jump into a replay. Which is a good one? Which is a good one? Because I want to have a good one, you know, I can't just share anything. That's just, we need a good one. Okay. Come on, where was it? Which was it? It was the race around Brands Hatch, no? Where's Brands Hatch? Is it this? Yeah, right before my nose. Yeah, less is always more. I think that's just, I really overdid it in the beginning. Car and hippie design, yeah. A Fanta design, yeah. I win at Solder. Oh, that's so far back. I think I have the replay, but yeah. So, for that. Let's just not get fancy with graphic settings and everything, just... You have a cool replay, or you just do a few practice laps around the tracks and you want to show off your livery, or you want to do some cool screenshots because you had a really brilliant race. So you hit into the replay, you press F7 for the free cam, and then let's just move out. You navigate the free cam, you press F7 and then it's just, you know, with the keyboard up and down arrows. With the mouse wheel you can increase the speed of how quickly the camera is moving, like from really slow to very, very fast. And you can use right mouse click to look around, left mouse click to look around. And yeah, middle mouse key in the free camera brings up the menu, and I talked about that in my screenshot video. But a cool thing that I learned is actually the field of view of the camera is more important than I thought. And if you have troubles like me, opening the camera, sometimes it's left mouse click and middle mouse button, so that's also a trick to know. So decrease the field of view, decrease it dramatically, and that was a suggestion by someone who posted some really cool screenshots in my Discord. So if you go down to like 30 degrees, you will notice already a huge difference from before. It gives the whole thing a bit more perspective, a bit more immersion, and makes it look so much cooler actually. And the next thing we want to do, okay, I'm messing up here, is the depth of field. You have so many different parameters here, and what I actually do is I use the far size, which is the objects in the background, to like 0.5. You can see the trees in the background got blurry, and move the focus area more to the front, which makes the background even more blurry. And these are actually the two most important parameters. You can, if you want to also make the foreground blurry, you can play with like the near size and the near transition. But I think that's just maybe a tiny bit too much. So that's how you easily blur the background. And then you actually have it set really well. And in your graphic options, you should always activate motion blur only for the outside camera. Because then what happens is the faster you go, the more blurry the other cars in the background will become. And the cool trick here is that I actually also use on Discord set, just pump up the speed. If you pump up the speed to 2 or 3 times, it will become a harder challenge to do a cool screenshot, but the motion blur will be even crazier. For example, just took a screenshot there, and let's just take another one so you can see what I mean at really high speeds. And the thing is that, okay, that becomes a bit more luck to do a cool screenshot, but they make the screenshot look so much cooler. And you can immediately see that. See? And if you compare these screenshots, like look at how much it is blurred and how more realistic that looks. And if you just compare that with screenshots that I did like half a year ago, like this for example, it's just, you immediately see the difference. The immersion is just, whoa, big boatly. The immersion is just not the same. You see? It's just not the same immersion. And yes, it makes it a bit tougher, but the screenshot looks so much more realistic and so much cooler. And the thing is, how you can make it even better looking is, this is by default in the game, middle mouse button, but you need to switch to the free camera. So if you're like sitting in the car, press F7 for the free camera. And whoa, then you can, then the middle mouse button. If it doesn't work, left mouse button plus middle mouse button at the same time, and then change the field of view. I have really no idea what smoothing and everything does. That's what you can experiment with for your own. And then the depth of field option are also there. And then, yeah, for example, we can... you can also just scroll around with the parameters. If you're just not sure what another parameter does, you can just, you know, feel free. But sometimes it resets it, which is also really annoying. So, oh, this was... Oh, now it doesn't really work anyway, so great. Why you no save? Okay, for whatever reason it doesn't really want to do it right now. Nice. Looks like sometimes it's bugged, so that's the thing with the camera right there. But yeah, it worked the first time. If it doesn't work, just restart the replay. Yes, you can also disable car following. Because what it does then, some really crazy stuff. Whoop, like this. And that's how people do cool videos. And then you can just swerve around and whatever. So yeah, you can go really crazy with these settings. And then one thing I just learned is you can utilize these screenshots to make them even cooler. Let's take this one. And I just... my girlfriend, who was photographing a lot in the past, basically just showed me the trick. When you have like Photoshop, or you might be able to do that in a lot of other programs, you can even bring out more of the colors. If you, for example, go into image adjustments curves, and then you get this funny thing here, and then you click in the middle and then just keep pulling it around, you can see that you can actually give it a bit more like saturation and color and make it look a bit cooler. So from like the basic, if you just pull it down like a little bit, you can already make it look much cooler. And what I then do again is hue and saturation. Oh, it was just the automatic one, I think. Edit. Oh no, it's there. It's there. Woo! Hue and saturation always opens up. Just increase the saturation to like 7, 8. Which makes everything even more vibrant. And you can clearly see the difference now. Just look at this. It looks way more vibrant and a bit better. If it's just not enough, you can just play around with these two settings. And these are settings that just enhance your picture quality so much. And that's basically just the beginning. I mean, you can go even crazier and do stuff like that in Photoshop. For example, just duplicate the picture and give it more motion blur, for example. Where is it? Blur. Blur. Is it spin path? Which was it? Motion blur. There it is. And then you can kind of blur the picture even more. But then what you could do is, for example, you just get rid of the top picture that you just blurred, the top layer. Like this, for example, and just have the other stuff like blurred really much, but not your car, for example. You see the difference? So these are like the things that you can then use in Photoshop. So the possibilities are endless. You can't... You're not only spending thousands of hours creating a custom livery, you spend thousands of hours in Photoshop then doing cool screenshots. So... Hey Steve, it's awesome. Thank you so much. New viewer record today. We peaked at over 100, which is amazing. So if there's still anyone here who is not subscribed to the channel, please click subscribe to not miss any of my upcoming videos. Tomorrow I have a fun live stream with Marcello coming up where we are practicing at Sandward, and Sunday we have Porsche Cup around Spa, so there's some entertainment coming up for sure. David Carter, not enough hours in the day, absolutely. So before I'm losing my voice, actually, I think I'm coming to an end right now, actually. That was a really cool live tutorial from zero to hero custom livery, my approach, how to work in it, what to do, some tips and tricks, what you need to look out for. Let's give away a custom livery. What do you say, guys? Let's do a bit of, let's do a tiny raffle. And I need, what do I need? I need my trusty bot for the raffle. Where is it? Nightbot, where are you? Because, I mean, who wants to win a custom livery? I design a custom livery for you, as long as you don't go crazy with any ideas. I designed a couple of custom liveries already for some people. So let me just do that one for you. Where is it? Giveaways. There it is. It will be a keyword. Ta-da. Okay. So everyone ready? Everyone who has just been lurking in the stream, listening in, now is the time. You need to come to the keyboard right now. Mad Panda drumroll. Badstang, oh thank you so much. Badstang, good to see you. How are you doing? Long time no chat, mate. How are you doing? So now I hope everybody is at the keyboard. Win. You want to win a custom livery designed by me. I hope so. For Assetto Corsa Competizione only, of course, because I have no experience in any other games. So get ready. Weekend Warrior is late, right in time for the raffle. So it will be a keyword you have to enter in the chat. And Nightbot will manage it. So get your fingers on the keyboard, because the keyword to win is my name, Boonatix. So just import Boonatix now into the YouTube chat. Everything in small letters. Just write Boonatix into the chat right now. First is Mentorot already jumping in there. Nice, it works. So come on, guys. You want to win a custom livery made by myself, just especially for you, type in Boonatix into the chat right now. Let's keep the drum roll. Just give you a few more seconds. That's so cool. Oh, at least some people want to have a custom livery. The hype is real. I don't have much. Custom liveries is something I can share at least. On Nightbot, come on. Weekend Warrior, you want to win as well, don't you? So just type in Boonatix in chat like everyone is doing. Just a few more seconds, come on. Custom livery. You can win a custom livery made by me for any car in Assetto Corsa Competizione. And the winner just gets in touch with me via Discord so that we can, you know, coordinate what you want. But please just, you know, keep it not as crazy. More like, you don't own the game. Ah, come on, Weekend Warrior. Good. So let's just do the final countdown from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. We can make the shift roll. 2, 1.5. 1. Ooh, some people are just jumping in. Come on. 1 and are we gonna roll it? Are we gonna roll it? I'm gonna click now. Last chance, last chance. 3, 2, 1. I'm just gonna roll it right now. Camille! Wolfar, sorry, a second too late. Camille, happy winner. Congratulations, you get a custom livery in ACC designed by moi. So hit me up on Discord, be sure to join my community and leave a message. Congratulations, mate. You will be the proud owner. Steve, you didn't participate. Did you participate? Yes. Oh. X. Awesome, congratulations, that's cool. So that's a cool way, and be sure to just, jump into my live streams from time to time, because I'll just do that over and over. Whenever I have like a little bit of free time, I just love create custom liveries, and yeah, be sure to check back. We have a lot of action. This was really cool tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. This was, I condensed it as good as possible. Wolfer, he gets a custom livery. I'm gonna design a custom livery for Camille. Yeah, Mad Panda, that's actually the coolest way to learn how to do custom liveries is trying to recreate some. So either recreate one of my designs or just, like really Google retro or classic race car liveries. They are most of the time easier to learn from and to try them on. Yeah, Camille, anyone else you want to thank? So yeah, that was really an enjoyable stream for me, because it was an opportunity to again showcase my process, as I have learned so much in the past half a year at least when making custom liveries. So the goal was for me also to have like a live stream you can rewatch, and I will do my best to put in chapters and timestamps in the descriptions until tomorrow, so that you will have an easier time to jump to parts that you might want to watch again, and to like have again an updated and compiled version of all the tricks and tools and whatever you need to know. And yeah, feel free to subscribe to the channel to not miss any of the upcoming live streams and videos. The focus of this community is to just have a great and nice sim racing community, especially good for beginners, but also for enthusiasts around ACC and sim racing in general. And what else? Tomorrow is going to be a really fun evening where we are practicing sandboard in the GT4s. For a mixed race with Marcello. So we will be guest star in the stream, talking and having the chat open. So anyone hang out, have a good time, learn the track with us, and let's share some tips and tricks. And on Sunday, a pretty amazing community spotlight of Sim Racing XP with Porsche Cup cars around Spa-Francorchamps. So that's gonna be a really crazy race, because there is no other car I know in the game except the Camaro that wants to drift so much like the Porsche Cup car. So we are hosting the Sim Racing GP platform, which Steve Worrell is also from. And thanks again from Race Department for being collaborator for this cool stream and for sharing the stream. And yeah, lots of fun coming up tomorrow and on Sunday, and on Tuesday is the next race, so there's so much going on. So be sure to join in. I'll look forward to see every one of you. If you have any questions, feel free to jump into my Discord or leave a comment below the live stream. I reply to every question. Anything you want to know in addition, please just feel free to ask, and I'll gladly respond and help you. Thanks for the stream. Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. Exactly, Batstang. Aris, the developer, is coming up in around about 15 minutes here on YouTube. So be sure to check out Aris' stream and annoy the hell out of him with questions about the new British DLC pack. He really enjoys if you keep asking him about upcoming DLCs and stuff like that. So let's just, have a good time. And thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Thanks again for the donations tonight from Kevin, from Camille, and from Kara Midaro. Really appreciate it that you help support my channel and the community. So have a good night. Enjoy the evening. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. And it's now time to drink. Goodbye. Take care, everyone. See you soon.